2018 is coming to an end, and there are no shortage of top 10 video games of the year lists out there, but that hasn't deterred me from making my own list. Since I'm not a professional game reviewer, and this isn't even a video game channel really, I haven't played nearly every game that come out this year, but I've played enough to have a few favorites, as well as to know for certain that God of War is my game of the year, and it's not even close. Before I talk about God of War, I want to talk about 5 games that were in my top 6, I guess, games of the year, and that definitely deserve mention and deserve some time from you this holiday season. Number 6 is Celeste. Celeste is a terribly hard, but incredibly engaging platformer with tons of heart. The pixel art is better than most, the music is to die for, and some excellent accessibility settings let you smooth a couple of the hard edges in the gameplay to let you get through it if you need some help, which I definitely did. Number 5 on my list is Spider-Man. There's great combat, this story is surprisingly engaging, and the open world has tons of subtasks that I couldn't help but do. Oh yeah, and the web slinging is just incredible. Number 4 is Dead Cells. Every couple of years a roguelike game just clicks with me, and this year it was Dead Cells. The difficulty ramps up perfectly for me, and I found the adventure to be engaging for many, many hours on end. I still haven't beaten it, but I'm going to try to do it before the end of the year. Number 3 is Hollow Knight. Likewise, I have a soft spot for Metroidvania games, and Hollow Knight scratched that itch for me this year. The way this game makes you feel like both your character and the world you're exploring are growing at an alarming rate made me constantly determined to dive deeper into this delight of a game. And my last honorable mention, number 2, is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Call of Duty got a lot of flack when it was announced that they would be dropping the single-player component this year, but after sinking well over 50 hours into this game's multiplayer and battle royale modes, I can say that I personally don't feel like anything is lost. Focusing on online modes has made this the best Call of Duty game in years, and it's the only one to grab my attention since Modern Warfare 2. Which brings us to my game of the year, God of War. Before this game, the God of War series represented a lot of what is good and bad about video games, in my opinion. It had a great gameplay loop that empowered the player. It had tight controls which made you feel totally in control of Kratos. And it executed a just enough progression system to make you feel like you were progressing without feeling like you were in a full RPG. On the other hand, it had a story that was pretty good for video games at the time, but it was still very much a, quote, video game story. It was full of sex and ultraviolence, which was fun, but not exactly something to be proud to play in front of your significant other. It was a male power fantasy that was enjoyable, but it didn't really resonate with me as much as time went on. 2018's God of War is a perfect reboot of the series that is intended as a dramatic shift from the previous titles, but by no means is a rejection of those past games. My problems with the previous game's stories are addressed brilliantly in this title, and God of War tells the tale of Kratos, who, much like the audience for this game, is older and wiser since the last time we saw him. He's run from his problems, has started a new life with a wife and a son, and the game picks up seemingly just hours after his wife's death. The short of it is that he and his son need to take her ashes to the top of a nearby mountain, but it's the details that make this such a compelling ride. The singular focus on getting to the top of the mountain helps guide you the entire way and also helps you gauge how far along in the story you are. This isn't a climbing simulator, of course, so many things, people, and gods get in the way as you try to accomplish this task, and the story takes you to many fantastic places along the way, but you never stop trudging forwards and upwards. The unrelenting pace is enhanced by the gimmick of the game, its continuous camera from start to finish. True to their word, Sony Santa Monica managed to create a complete 20-plus hour experience where the camera never once cuts. From the opening shot to the final credits, the camera invariably moves around from exploration to combat to cutscene to loading areas, all without a cut. It's absolutely magical and is a phenomenal narrative as well as technical achievement. This game would have been much easier to make without this, and it likely would have been received nearly as well, but the fact that they had this audacious goal and achieved it is really something else. Ultimately, the story is told in a mature but still fantastical way. The stakes are more personal than ever before. Yes, the villains in your way are gods and monsters, as they have always been, but the moment-to-moment action is relatable even to us mortals. It's a story about a father and son trying to connect. It's a story about grief and loss. It's a story about forgiveness and the depths of despair. The other gods and monsters are just window dressing. The relationship between Kratos and his son Atreus is incredibly compelling, and you feel compassion for both characters. The dialogue between the two feels very genuine and gives the impression it's coming from somewhere real. We'd be lauding this voice work if it was in a Hollywood film, let alone a video game. The work Christopher Judge and Sonny Soljic put in here is just outstanding. And it's to the producer's credit, because the quality voice acting extends to the entire cast, with each major player contributing memorable work. I especially love Jeremy Davies as Baldur and Alistair Duncan as Mimir. And I loved how they had video game voiceover legends Nolan North and Troy Baker play two characters in a fierce rivalry. None of this even gets to the gameplay, which is some of the best third-person combat I've ever experienced in my 20 years of playing video games. Kratos' axe is easily one of the best weapons of the decade, if not of all time. And this is coming from a series that has already had one of the most iconic video game weapons in the Blades of Chaos. The Leviathan axe will fill you with immense satisfaction as it chops through enemies, and as a bonus trick, you can throw it whenever you'd like and start to take on foes with just your fists. When you're ready to get it back, just tap a button and it'll zip back to your hands, slicing through anyone in its way in the process. It's so satisfying. I've gotten this far and haven't even touched on a bunch of the game's elements. The progression system is a little obtuse, but it's simple enough to let you always feel like you're getting stronger as you go. The puzzles strike a good balance, with the most essential puzzles being just complex enough to engage your mind without really holding you back, while the optional side puzzles will make you scratch your head a bit more. There's a CPU-controlled companion for most of the game, and it's never ever annoying. The visuals are just drop-dead gorgeous, and the music is perfect. God of War is a perfect revitalization of a franchise that seems to have pleased existing fans as well as a whole host of new players. Sony was rewarded for their efforts, as God of War was the fastest-selling PS4 game ever, that is until Spider-Man eclipsed it just a few months later. It's currently the fourth best-selling game of the year, behind Spider-Man, Black Ops 4, and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's an achievement in every way, and I'll always look back fondly on my time as Kratos in this adventure. It was everything I didn't know I wanted in a God of War game, and I'm still reeling from how good it actually was. From the moment the credits rolled, way back when I played this in May, I knew it would be my game of the year, and nothing has come close to dethroning it.